I have to be honest, come forth and say that I too caught myself blinded by the thick smoke. So thick that it prevented myself from visualizing the truth after those 10 successive post-World Cup friendly victories for Brazil. The bottom line is simple. When the actual show commences, matches actually worth something, it's back to that pitiful, humiliating, pathetic image of a soft, crying Brazilian team collapsing on the pitch all over again. Is this the worst Brazil of all time? Now, I was not alive for those bad 1954 and 1974 World Cup runs, and some say that 1990 was bad. But during that round of 16 game in Turin, Brazil were eliminated by Argentina after playing much better. The only difference was that Argentina had the brilliance of Maradona. All I know is that for me personally, someone who's been following the national team for 29 years, I have never seen a more soulless, disengaged, unorganized, unprepared, fiberless, and overall just terrible Brazil. I also don't want to place the blame entirely on Dunga. Instead, I want to place it on those who appointed him as head coach again. Those penguin in suits in charge of the CBF, the Brazilian FA. The same guys who flat out abandoned Dunga down in Chile in fear of prosecution due to corruption charges and that whole ordeal. A main reason why Neymar's punishment was not appealed. Nobody appropriate to deal with that case even went to Chile. And that includes the womanizing CBF chairman Marco Polo Del Nero, petrified he'd get roped by U.S. authorities down in Chile. Brazilian football has been abandoned, abused, violated, and used for personal gain. Used as a window to showcase players to agents and other businessmen alike. Or do you really think players like Fred, Casemiro, and Douglas Costa made it to the national team purely on merit? We can't be that naive anymore. If you haven't noticed, side by side with Dunga at all times is the mustachioed Gilmar Rinaldi, head of football department coordinator of all categories of the national team, while at the same time being the owner of an agency. In other words, an auctioneer of young talent being showcased to all his agent buddies while he silently banks a nice little commission on them from afar. The Brazilian national team of today is like a failing restaurant. And when a restaurant is failing and attempting to better itself in order to bring back the clientele and keeps its doors open, until the kitchen's deep clean and scrub clean, until an appropriate staff is appointed and trained, and until they have produce and ingredients freshly acquired on a regular basis, and its hard-headed CEO humbles down and accepts all this change, the overall quality of the establishment will always remain subpar. The same exact process can be applied to the situation of the Brazilian national team. Until Marco Polo Del Nero and his goons aren't exiled far, far away from controlling the Brazilian national team's most prized possession, the Brazilian nation's most prized possession, little can be done to save this dreadful national team. A team that in the past year has not only reached its worst moment ever, but reached it while hitting negative records left to right. The worst ever defeat in over 100 years of history, the 7-1 to Germany. Failed to make the Copa America semifinals 2 editions in a row for the first time ever. In turn, keeping Brazil out of the next Confederations Cup, which doesn't really matter, but that's beside the point. Truth of the matter is, at the rate Brazil is stagnant, while those around grow significantly, I fear the worst is yet to come. And it could come as another first ever, failing to make the 2018 FIFA World Cup by not qualifying in the South American region, a place Brazil has always imposed major respect. But Brazil has 2 upcoming friendlies, their specialty, in the U.S. come September. My only wish would be to see CBF Chairman Del Nero and his posse here in the USA along with the delegation. Oh, but do you really think that he'll come? No, he won't. Do you guys agree and think that this is the worst ever Brazilian national team? Don't forget to voice your opinion on the comments below. I'm actually very interested to see what some of you have to say. Until next time.